Hey guys, brand new podcast, and I have the giggles in today's ad reads. I couldn't stop laughing throughout the ad reads. So I don't know. I know it's a beautiful day outside. Let's get to the podcast. What do I have to promote? Go Big Show on TBS every night. On TBS Thursdays 9, 8 Central. What was making me giggle in the reads, Halston? What were the reads we did that I was laughing hard? No, one of the sponsors, 1-800-CONTACTS. The idea that they would have a phone number as their .com just made me laugh so hard. It qualifies how long they've been in business. Is that the name of their business is back when everyone used phones more than the internet. And they're like, and I apologize to 1-800-CONTACTS if you find this dismissive, but I just thought it was so funny when that you'd have a phone number as the name of your business, and you're like, this is a fucking, and then they're like, well, people are starting to go online, and they're like, well, fucking do the same, and they're like, you can't use numbers as a website. I couldn't stop giggling at that. What was and the idea that their award service? Oh, the other one is in self-help, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's a sponsor. The line that got me, and you got to listen to these reads because they're genuinely, I giggle, is send as many messages as you want to your therapist. I just thought there's got to be one therapist going, no, let's keep it at 10. Like, that's not as many as you want. But that's the beauty about these. I'm giggled throughout today's podcast. And then there's one where I was emphasizing the wrong words in the wrong places. Oh, fuck. I'm a shit show. Listen, at least I know I'm a shit show. Okay? I am a shit show. Today's podcast is a great podcast. Go Big Show. Every Thursday night, tonight. It's airing right now from 9, 8 Central. Let's just get to the podcast. Today's podcast is a good one. It's with my buddy Nick Thune. He's on set about to shoot a movie, so you will hear him rent a car in the middle of this. He's in Seattle. He's a great guy. He really is a great guy. By the way, I've been looking at this screen, not that screen. My bad. Oh wait, this one's the one we do. I don't know. Fuck it. We talk about getting outdoors and doing stuff. Nick is really living an amazing life. He really is. So we're clear, because I don't know how much you may or may not know, Nick had a rough run with alcoholism, and we talked about it on our last podcast. If you want to listen to that last podcast, I'm sure you can find it. But it's a very intense story and an intense experience that he went through. And man, that guy came out on the other side fucking swinging. He is living a great life. Like, every time I look at his Instagram, he is very calm. He's very grounded. He is outdoors. He's with his son, and he is in some sort of body of water. We talk about that. He's an inspiration. If you're having a problem with booze and you don't think that there's beauty on the other side of life, man, look at Nick Thune. That guy is a fucking true inspiration. And let's be real. Oh, he's got a new movie out. He's got a new movie called The Right One on Apple and Amazon. But he's an amazing comic, an amazing actor, and a good friend. Like I said, he's up in Vancouver shooting a movie right now, and that's the conversation we had in his new house. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, today's podcast guest of the Bertcast, my buddy, American hero, legend. Follow him on Instagram. He's got a great Instagram, Nick Thune. He's the man, the myth, the legend, the fucking machine. I was just sitting here in front of my computer watching my own Instagram feed, and I'm 2 minutes late to this. I've been here for 6 minutes, and I got lost in my own fucking Instagram feed.
How far back did you go?
Oh, dude. I'm having an Instagram day, I'll tell you.
It's feeling nostalgic already.
No, you know what? Like I had like the most brilliant, hilarious thing happen to me today, and it was like, have you ever like when you do your driving videos and you're like, do you ever do one that's so funny where you go, or have you ever created a video like your Lincoln Navigator video? Was that like, remember like when? But have you ever created a video where you are shaking, so excited to get it out, where you're like, I really got something hilarious right here. Yeah. And like, I had one of those mornings.
Yeah. Well, I know that feeling. And, like a lot of the time you have it on your phone and you're like, all right, I've got to now transfer this to my computer, get it into iMovie. I need to find a screenshot for Instagram to use as like the main pic. I got to go through what's the comment, all of these things, but it's like, I made a pizza and I want to fucking serve it. I want people to eat this pizza right now.
I mean, I was shaking when I realized the comedy I stepped into.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. This made me laugh so fucking hard. I wish I could do this as a bit, but I don't think it's funny enough, but it's good enough for Instagram. So probably 4 weeks ago, Segura texted me and he was like, hey man, I found these like hilarious tracksuits. We should buy them. And so we both
saw this
video.
Saw the tracksuit. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah. So we buy these tracksuits. And then he wears one of the podcasts and I forget to wear it. And I've ruined the tracksuit gag, right? So I feel horrible. And I haven't gotten to wear my tracksuit yet. So I wake up at 6:30 this morning to go get my blood pressure medicine. And I go, I'm going to go get my tracksuit on. I've been wanting to wear it. I love driving in the morning. I want to talk to you about sobriety because I've been loving being sober at times.
Oh, you've been sober?
Yeah.
Just time.
Yeah. I wish you didn't have to do them all in a row. And so I drive. So now here's the other side story. So me and Segura did a Two Bears One Sap where we said, we'll live stream the Super Bowl and let's get $10,000 in cash and we'll spread it all over. We'll have stacks of it in front of us and we'll gamble with $10,000. So I tell my business manager, hey, grab me $10,000 in cash. He's like, what's going on? I go, just trust me. We get $10,000 in cash, Nick. It is so unimpressive. It is this thick. It is like, it's all in hundreds. And we're like, fuck. So then
that's not even that many hundreds.
It's not. It's so unimpressive. So I have $10,000 in cash and Segura's like, all right, fuck it. Let's just get $250,000 in fake money. So we do the show with $250,000.
And that cost you 10 grand.
It cost us $200. So as a gag, I'm hammered at the end of this show that we do it with. As a gag, I have my 10 grand still. I grab the exact same amount in fake cash and I give it to I'm going to play a gag on my wife, right? I give it to my wife and then I go, I bet Tom, I double. It's a gag. She finds out the gag and she's like, all right, fuck face. We're not mixing these two up. So she takes them. Now I see it. I see the 10 grand on her desk. Now this morning I get up to go get my blood pressure medicine. I have my ridiculous tracksuit on and I left my wallet at my sister's. So I grab the 10 grand that's fake, not knowing it's the fake 10 grand. I think it's the real 10 grand. I then go, no wallet. I then go to the Rite Aid and I pull out, I go, do you have change for 100? And she was like, yeah. And as I put it down, the woman just really quick goes, that's not real. And I went, what? She goes, that's not real. And as I saying, I feel in my fingers and I go, oh shit, I grabbed the fake $10,000.
Sure you did, sir.
My wife took $10,000 and hid it from me. Why would she leave it out? Why would she leave it on her desk? But I'm such an idiot. And so I'm like, oh my God. And I'm dressed ridiculous. And I got a stack of fake bills. And she has just caught me. And I can't stop laughing. And then immediately as a comic, your brain starts, you write the bit a little more. You're like, and then I'm like, I want to put this on Instagram because I'm like, it's never going to work as a bit because if you write the bit is I was splashing it all around town and I'm fucking dressed like a gangster. And so I put it a little bit out there that like, I did buy my daughter's breakfast, but it was after I learned it was counterfeit money. I also bought her breakfast, but I was like, I was so bubbling with excitement about this.
Was there ever a moment where you were maybe going to get arrested?
No, not even remotely. I mean, not even like, it's the thing about comedy is like, in my perspective, it's always better when it's real. So had I spent it all around town, then it's a bit, right? But the fact that I was only going to get blood pressure medicine and a Monster Energy drink for my daughter to wake up to read. So I pulled it out and literally she caught it so quick, Nick. You never seen the people hold it up to the air and you're like, what are you, fucking counterfeit expert? This woman, as I pulled it, she goes, that's not real. Immediately.
I have women do that with condoms. They like And they go, no, this isn't real.
Oh, I felt that way when I saw the trailer to your movie. Holy shit, dude. That looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was a fun movie.
Dude, you got to play the greatest role ever.
Yeah.
Like, that is the greatest role. That's the greatest fucking role.
It was ridiculous. I mean, it was perfect too, because I don't really do characters, like that's not my thing.
Yeah.
But that made it, I was telling somebody, like, I basically just tried so hard to fail every day that every time I felt like I failed, they were like, yep. It's
Really?
like, all right, so that's how hard I have to go, to where I'm insecure about what I've done because it's too much. And then it works. Okay.
And so wait, what movie is this your like fifth movie?
Oh, I don't even know. I mean, I've done
like lead, because you were the lead in the one with the boxes.
Yeah, Dave Made a Maze. Yeah,
Dave Made a Maze. I've
done so many indie films, though. It's like,
Oh, really?
This one's not indie.
It's not indie. It's dude. It looks so. I haven't seen I tried to get a whole thing for it, and I guess I was having a hard time getting it through my cousin Andrew. But I'm telling you, I got a text from someone texted me and they're like, "Hey, Nick Thune wants to be on the podcast," and I literally wrote back, "I just saw the trailer for his movie. It looks fucking amazing." And they're like, "Oh, that's what he's promoting," and I was like, "Fucking bring him on!" I mean, I was so excited.
My 12th appearance, dude, 12th appearance on the Bert Kreischer show.
I could talk to you for hours. You're one of my favorite Instagram follows in the world. You make me want to be a divorced dad so bad.
I mean, last night, it's so funny how many of your fans are so loyal, because like last night I was like, I'm just going to give people advice on Instagram for an hour. So I like went on live and just everybody was like, do Bert's show again. And I was like, I am tomorrow.
Well, you know what it is, Nick, is that it's what I loved about when you told that story, when you did storytelling for Ari's thing. It's what I love about you. You're very authentic. You're very real. And I hope this comes out as a compliment. You're very marketable as well. Like you're a good looking man. You're tall. You've got your shit together. You're extremely funny and talented, but you are so authentically real that I think people tether to that super quick. I mean, when we talked about you quitting drinking, I've thought about this. I've thought about that story. I've thought about that story independently so many fucking times. Like just thinking about you going off into the canyon by yourself and being like, that's it, I'm done. And then seeing you succeed and excel where you are today, I'm like, I keep going like, so I need him to tell me the trick, because I do chunks of sobriety, but then I just go, like last night, I had a great fucking day. Worked out twice, did 2 podcasts. I did 3 podcasts, took a general meeting. I was like fucking killing it. And then the sun starts setting and it's a witching hour. And I'm like, fuck, here we go.
I know the witching hour. The witching hour too, that's where you go on. Because you're always like, let's go on a walk around the neighborhood. When I see your videos with it's like you're strolling down the middle of the street with some gang, but it's just you and your daughters. Yeah. And it's like, those are the things that I'm like, okay, that's how I'll get through this. I'll just take my son on a walk.
You've done that amazingly. Like the relationship you and your son have is, I'm telling you, from a dad who's kind of fucking it up, super admirable.
I love, that's what this, because how many days of the year have you ever calculated that you're on the road? How many days?
Bro, I'm leaving for, I'm a lot. I'm taking a look at this year, and starting in April, I'm gone. I'm gone for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Hey, Leanne, how many days when I'm on the road? Leanne just walked by. Leanne, how many days? Oh, come here. It's Nick. Come here. Leanne saw the trailer too of your new movie and was literally like through the fucking roof. What's the matter? Nothing. Okay. It's Nick.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
We just saw the trailer to your new movie. And I was like, oh my God. We were both bubbling, man.
Good job hiding that $10,000.
Thank you. Wife's got to do what a wife's got to do.
Yeah, they do.
How many days do you think I'm on the road when I'm out without a pandemic?
5 days a week, 3 weeks a month.
Yeah, we're talking about everything.
So I always insisted that he have 1 week a month off. If I had not insisted on that, it would not have happened.
Yeah, the way that he puts his schedule together.
That's right. So I was like, 1 weekend a month. So.
Well, but is it better now that he's not doing comedy clubs? Because that way it's like, he's not in one city for that many days. So you can kind of flip back, right?
No, he doesn't.
No. Now I just live on the bus. I just go out on the bus and I'm gone.
No, we see him less.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But
well, it's probably better for you guys.
It's an interesting some days
it actually is, Nick.
It's an interesting way to parent for sure. It's when the pandemic happened, I had to start including him in things that I'd never thought that mattered, because I'm so used to running the show that all of a sudden I'm like making decisions and taking action on stuff. And he's like, hold on. I didn't have any input in this. And I'm just not used to having, like for me to get input would be, I could write a note, send it on a pigeon, and 4 days later, I'm not hear back from him, because he's so busy. So I just got.
And I think that's so cool that you guys still use carrier pigeons.
I
know it's like that thing. Also, probably a little bit of a relief. Like, oh, I don't have to drive to all of these places. I can drive to half of them if I want to, or I could have somebody fun to do it with.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a fun husband.
Sometimes.
All right. I can tell she's got a fucking hair up her ass.
Sometimes. Nice to see you, and the movie looks great. I can't wait to see
you too. Thank you.
So what can you tell me about the movie? I want to talk about parenting real quick. But what can you tell me about the movie? Because I'm curious about your character.
Well, it's, the movie is, it's supposed to be like a rom-com, but it's actually like it's just kind of a dark, kind of like a guy that went through a traumatic experience when he was younger, living in a foster home, and has just never shook it, and has never really found himself or like ever really connected. So he's become this guy that which is something, this was kind of what I used to do when I was in Seattle before I moved to LA. It's like one night I'm at a poetry open mic. The next night I'm, here, and I'm not doing any of them seriously. I'm doing all of them as a bit, but nobody else is in on it with me. And I'm just like, this new identity, because I was like wearing costumes to poetry nights and being like a weirdo that nobody knew. And that's kind of what this guy does until this woman kind of comes in and makes him face his trauma, which, I don't really, I don't have like any major traumas from my childhood, except for getting beat with one of those skippets. Remember those skippets?
Skip it.
It's like it's like a plastic thing with a ball at the end, and there's a loop, and you put the loop on one foot, and you like.
Oh, I remember those.
Yeah, you're skipping it.
Skip it.
Yeah, not a fun experience for me, but yeah. So it was interesting to think about that, and it's the thing about this movie. If you see the preview, I play so many characters, so
yeah.
Every day was like, I'm dressed in drag and performing somewhere, and every day was just, it's like let's just take this one day at a time, because if I try and think about tomorrow, then I'm fucked.
Do you miss that? Do you miss the almost anonymity of being able to be weird as fuck when you were younger? Because I know for a fact I could do things and take chances and have fun and dress in drag. We do it in college and it would be fun and you'd feel wild. Now, if I do it, it is a statement, or you're like, oh, here goes Bert. He's trying to be like Andy. It's like all of a sudden there's a lot of labels that get thrown on you, and you're like, hey man, I was weird. I was authentically weird before I got into this.
Yeah. And you feel like it's like you trying to put on a show. When I was wearing drag on it, we had to go between locations, and I had this driver the whole movie named Curtis. May he rest in peace. He passed away after the movie, which I got a call from the Teamsters. Like, they were like, Curtis loved you, man. He'd want you to know. It's like,
holy shit.
But he was a stud. I love Curtis. And I was like, hey, stop at Starbucks. And he's like, all right, I'll go in for you, because I'm dressed as a woman, but I have a beard. And I'm like, no, I'll go in. And he's like, okay. So he just stays in the car, and he's out on the street. There's a big patio. I walk in. First of all, free coffee, compliments on my nails, everything. Yeah. They just loved it. And as they're making the coffee, I poke my head out, and Curtis is just kind of standing by the car. And there's, all these people. It's a nice sunny day. And I go, I'll be right out, Daddy. And he's just standing by the car. And it was this moment of Oh, it was so perfect. And I'm like, this is why I want to be able to do this, on a daily basis, because it's just too fun. It's too fun. I have too much fun in the world, which has been part of the hard part of, all my friends call it Nick in the world, because I'm constantly just like on the, just like saying yes to stuff. And like, next thing you know, I'm like in the back room of a CVS and they're like, you want to help me carry a box out? Like helping, whatever. But that's what I miss. That's what I miss the most.
Yeah.
And stand up.
Oh my God. When was the last time you got on stage? Have you done any of the parking lot shows?
No, but I did go to DC and play like a movie theater that was really spread out in October. And I've done a couple Zoom things, that's whatever. It felt good to do the DC show, but I just, when you're dealing with an ex and you're dealing with like travel and all that stuff, it's like, you got to get tested, and then she wants you to quarantine for a certain amount of days. And you're like, well, I don't want to be away from my son for, 5 days on either side of me going on the road for one show. It just doesn't,
Yeah, I never thought about that. We did when I'd come back on the road, it was a cheat code, really. Like we would get a beach house or a lake house somewhere, and then we would all just stay there for 4 days and party and not be around anyone, and then we'd come home.
Nice,
but I can't imagine, I can only imagine that. Like there isn't. I'm not saying that it's contentious, but there is a weird kind of like, hey, you can't just jump in and hopscotch back into the world. You were out on the road. I don't know what you were doing. And Joe Coy, do you hear what Joe Coy did? Joe Coy's like, the pandemic kicked. I'm going to my house in Vegas. And he tells his son, you want to go? And he was like, well, yeah, what about mom? And he was like, she can come. And he's like, what about her boyfriend? He's like, fuck him. He's like, his ex-wife's like, hey man, I want to be with my son. Good luck. I went with Joe. Wow. And they all hung out. They all hung out. I just thought it was so funny.
That's amazing. I mean, I'm in a 2-week quarantine right now in Vancouver. This is my 14th day actually.
Really?
I'm up here shooting a movie, so they make you do 14 days, which has been
shit. What movie are you shooting? You can't talk about it, I'm sure.
No, it's this Netflix movie. It's called Mixtape. It's like a coming of age thing. Like your daughters are gonna fucking love it.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
It's been interesting what movies we connect on. Like we just watched The Wilds. It's like a teen girls trapped on an island, and it's weird. It's weird being the dad because you get into it. You get into it any it's a series, and you get into it. You're like, oh, it's fun, and then you want to talk to your friend about it. You're like, have you seen The Wilds? And they're like, well, what did you watch? You're like, never mind.
They're like, is wild spelled with a Y or have you shown them Stand By Me?
No. They, some of that stuff doesn't translate to them. Like some of the older stuff doesn't, like they just sit there. Like we tried to show them Tommy Boy and they're like, or no, Ace Ventura. And they were like, I can't laugh at a special needs guy. And you're like,
oh yeah. And
you're like,
when Towns was 5, I showed him Ace Ventura and he didn't get anything but laughed so much.
Oh,
I've done like same thing with Napoleon Dynamite. He like it's one of his favorite movies. And
I haven't shown them. I haven't shown them.
Gets it. Oh my God! He at 5 years old, that was his favorite movie.
Oh wow! Oh, I got to try that. Last night they wanted to watch The Shining, and right now they're obsessed with serial killers.
Mm-hmm.
So we watched the one on Richard Ramirez, and then we watched the Ted Bundy one, and now, and I don't like that shit. I don't like the fucking sadness of life. I like dumb comedies. I don't understand people that like horror movies. Have you ever done a horror movie?
Yeah.
You have?
In Boston. Yeah. And it was like night shoots and I get killed, but I'm like this like paramedic driver and I was drunk most of the movie. And the day I got out of rehab, it was like premiering at ArcLight. So I just like showed up, like literally still have like a wristband on my rehab. And I see the director and I'm like, hey man, I just got out of rehab today. And he goes, yeah, I was wondering in the edit bay, it was so interesting. Like we couldn't really understand most of what you said. And he goes, and I remember that on set too. And I was just like, just let him go for a while. He'll find it.
Holy shit, that's fucking hilarious.
But if you're shooting in -10 degrees, in the dead winter in Boston outside, you're good. Yeah, of course you're drinking whiskey out of a water, bottle.
It's so funny.
That's normal, right?
What's so funny is I never understood drinking problems. Like I never could, because I think I don't know what I am, but I teeter in and out of such extremes at times that I green light behaviors. I have a buddy who got very sick drinking, and is not doing so hot right now. And I was like, I literally was like, he had a drinking problem, and my friends are like, bro, he would drink in the morning. I was like, I drank with him a couple times. Like I didn't think like, and then you start going, wait, do I have a drinking problem? And they're like, I don't know. And then that guy's situation kind of scared me. Literally scared me, but I'd already been not drinking for 2 months at the time. And so with like, a sprinkle of night drinking, maybe like 4 times in December, but it's crazy is that like, you see that. And I remember the one time you came over and you're like, I would love a pull of vodka. And I was like, let's make drinks. And it's funny. I just don't, I'm like, I have a bad, it's almost like hanging out with a bunch of gay dudes and you're like, wait, you guys are trying to fuck me? And you're like,
yeah. Oh, I didn't know that you guys wanted to. I mean, that's flattering, actually.
Yeah. I mean, we're naked. I thought this is how the Greeks wrestle.
I thought this was just a bit and me sucking your. I think that morning that I did that pull of vodka, I think I vomited in your bathroom before we even went in there.
Really?
I was like, oh God, yeah. I started being so good at vomiting. I could just like mid-sentence just be like, oh, I need to check something. I think I left something in my car. Vomit out front, come back in. Nope. Water. But the friend with the, one thing to think about that I always thought about, especially once I quit drinking, was how much time I spent concerned with if I had a problem or not, and like the brain power that was taking, where it's like, God, I was wasting that much thought process on that when it could have just been something I don't think about. But the problem with quitting drinking is if you're doing it just because you want to be healthy, that only lasts for so long,
That's me. That's me. I go, I'm going to quit because I want to lose some weight. I want to be healthier. Oh, and then, but I can't really wrap my head around it. But that brain thought stuff, because like there'll be times like where I'll sit on the treadmill and I'll be like, maybe I'll have a drink tonight. And then I'll go, nah, I'd be healthy. And then you'll be like, well, maybe I will. And you're like, nah. And then you go back and forth and you're like, that is brain power, as opposed to just going, oh, the answer is going to be no forever.
Yeah.
It must save a lot of fucking headache.
That's my gummy situation right now. I mean, it takes about 15 minutes to Instacart some gummies from, and I love gummies. I think you like gummies too, right?
Yeah.
But they just make me feel like shit. Because I went from booze to sugar like immediately, and it's sick how much sugar I was bringing down, because that's how much booze I was taking was, I would go through like 4 packages of like Haribo gummies.
Oh yeah.
Oh God. But the amount of time I waste thinking about gummies is ridiculous. It just moves to something else. Mine's been running lately. Like one will kill you quicker.
One will kick.
That's the thing too that people say. Like I remember, I one time ended up in on accident in a SLA meeting, Sex Anonymous. I didn't know that they didn't have there were meetings other than AA meetings at this place. So I show up and it's like a cyber sex meeting, and I remember someone was like afterwards, he's like, hey man, I know who you are, and I think this is a good place for you. I'm like, how would you know anything about my sexual things? But he goes, but hey, I know you're in AA. So I'm like, what? He's like listening to podcasts and he knows about me. And he's like, he goes, if I were you, I'd just go in whatever one's going to kill you quicker. Focus on that. And I was like, I'm here on accident, man. This is not, yes, I stayed the whole time and totally related, but
yeah, I always teeter. I don't, I wish I could nail down where my brain is, but I'm such a person that lives on extremes. It's either fucking eating clean, running, trying to lose weight, or I get on the road and I'm
balloon. I balloon up to like 259 was my heaviest. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's not who I am.
You on the road too, or I mean, your workout schedule. I mean, the fact that you do keep your body healthy as far as cardio and your heart and your lungs. I mean, that most alcoholics can't do that. That, you know, I mean, and that's not to say it's functioning. It's just like that fear of yourself, your body giving out, like your friend's is doing, or maybe, you know, he's going to recover from it. Who knows? But I had a friend's body who gave out, and it just killed, you know, it happened in 4 days. It was insane.
Really?
Yeah. And he's in hospice like 2 days later, and then done 2 days after that. And we had just spoken on the phone a week earlier. And it was like all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, I drink a bottle of vodka at least a day. And he's like, yeah, I'm drinking a bottle of tequila every day. I'm like, whoa, I didn't know we were both doing this. Feels good to unload a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
and then, you know, the next thing I know, he's gone. I'm like, oh, wait, so the thing that he was doing, that's what I'm doing to my body. And I better get out of this.
So,
or else,
yeah. Yeah.
You know, and then I remember like talking to his wife, and she was like, they went to Disneyland. And I remember being like, how did he do Disneyland? Because I couldn't do stuff like that because I couldn't drink. You know, there's no drinking at Disneyland. So there's no way for me to sneak drinking or you know, whatever. And she was like, he came for an hour and then he went back to the hotel and he was finishing off. Like I'd wake up in the middle of the night. He was drinking tequila. I'm like, yeah. So that's how I would have done it, an hour a day.
This podcast is brought to you by Viore. When I first went to Australia, I remember Gavin, my tour manager, explaining to me activewear, and I didn't understand what that was. And then I started working out. Apparently, I was a lazy piece of shit. And I started working out, and I realized I didn't want to wear running shorts to go drop off my kids, or like a running top to go drop off my kids. I didn't want to look like I was on my way to the gym. I wanted to look like I was hanging out in everyday life, and then I could also work out in those clothes. Viore has the perfect apparel. It is performance apparel designed for you to work in, but it doesn't feel or look like that. It's so comfortable. You wear it all the time. I wear their core shorts. They're literally the most comfortable lined athletic shorts I've ever had. One short for every sport. I use them for working out. I use them for running. And I just love being in them. I go swimming in them. By the way, I slept in their Ponto shorts 3 nights ago. And they've got great apparel for women. They've got women's joggers, performance joggers, which Leanne claims are the softest joggers she's ever owned. The women daily leggings, which my daughters go in and pilfer out of Leanne's closet. And I'm telling you right now, they're designed to look good, look great, feel great in everyday life, inside and outside of the gym. And they are perfect for any workout. I use them for running and for my CrossFit that I'm trying to lose weight, but it really hasn't happened. Let me tell you something. You're going to like what you see. Go to their website and take a look at their products. The core shorts, I stand in their core shorts. Viore is an investment in your happiness. And for our listeners, they're offering 20% off your first purchase. Get yourself some of the most comfortable and versatile clothing on the planet at VioreClothing.com/Bert. That's VUORI clothing.com/Bert. Not only will you get 20% off your first purchase, but you will enjoy free shipping on any U.S. orders over $75 and free returns. Go to VioreClothing.com/Bert and discover the versatility of Viore Clothing.
Did you think your son noticed a difference in how active you were in his life?
I don't know, because he's 5. You know, he turned 5 like right when I was in rehab. And I remember there's a woman in rehab that told me that her dad got sober when she was 5. She worked there, and she doesn't ever remember him being drunk, you know, and she's cool. Like 25, you know, and I'm like, oh, good. Okay, cool. So I might be right at that kind of.
So you know, all he knows of you is like the greatest dad in the world who's like, let's go to Lake Hurricane, or let's go.
Oh God. Did you get anything wrong with your body after Lake Hurricane?
I don't know. Why did you?
Oh yeah. Okay. So I was pulling out, I was swimming in an area. I got a parasite, swimmer's itch, which is like this parasite eating at my body, because I was swimming in a cove that was just perfect and beautiful. And I was just hanging out in the water, like, you know, for hours. And my son and I was driving with Natasha and Moshe Kasher, Natasha Leggero were also with me with their daughter, but they were in a separate car. And we're driving all into Utah to go to, you know, whatever national park. And pulling out, I called them. I go, hey, how itchy are you guys? And I'm driving my car, literally like ripping my clothes off, just like I can't even handle it. And they're like, not at all. And I go, well, I got to get a shower. So I pulled into a hotel with Towns and I go, come with me. This is how things get done. And he walks in and I take $20 and I say, I just need a shower. Can I use a room for a shower? And the lady was like, okay, sure. Gives me a key, takes the 20. I go and shower off in the room. And then my body it looked like I got bit by 1,000 mosquitoes for days and it was itchy, but yeah, swimmer's itch.
Oh, and we didn't get that at all.
And then later in the summer, I got swimmer's ear, which, you know, I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but by next summer I could have a swimmer's body, depending. But I just kept getting problems in water around. But that's all we did all summer. I think we camped 60% of the summer. I just couldn't be inside.
How do you find your places to go? Because when I see the places that you guys go, it just looks so fucking awesome.
I found this place in Kernville. Like Kernville, have you been there?
No.
It's like you get to Bakersville, whatever. Is it Bakersfield? Yeah. And then you head out and you camp on the Kern River, which later I find out they call the Killer Kern because, like, you know, there's a lot of people that die in this river. It's a fucking crazy river. But I found this, you know, BLM site, which is free camping, you know, first come, first serve.
BLM.
And yeah.
How did they have anything to do with camping?
It's not the same. It's not the same people.
Oh, wait, what are the?
It's not Black Lives Matter. There's I don't know what BLM stands for, and as far as the camping terms, but yeah, like, national parks really got
they're really focused on Black Lives Matters and camping. Like they don't really talk about camping much, but that's one of their other things.
They're like, you know what, we're gonna give free camping and we're gonna until this is all fixed.
How funny do you think it was when the BLM people realized, oh, there's another one?
Yeah. Wait, how did we get? And they did a partnership, and I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, it's like when WWF was like the World Wildlife Foundation.
Was that a thing?
Oh, that's why they changed to WWE, because they already owned WWF, and they were like, it was World Wildlife Foundation, and they were like, wait, hold on, we're World Wrestling Federation. And they're like,
never knew that.
Change it.
Never knew that. Two totally different things as well. But as far as camping, I also learned how to go to places that aren't campgrounds and really just kind of just do it, you know. And at the time, like right now, I don't know if you saw it during the World Series, but camping.com was one of the sponsors. Like it had camping.com behind home plate.
Wow.
Like that's how, like the camping business, you know, outfitting trucks, that blew up this summer. And also guitar business too went crazy as well. Everyone's, you know, trying to learn how to play guitar. But the camping was nuts, and also just unregulated as far as, like, you know, people weren't paying attention, the rangers and stuff. So you could really go anywhere. But I have to camp by a body of water. Otherwise it's just useless to me.
Yeah, I don't understand camping in the middle of, like, people that we went camping at just up north. There's a big body of big right on the ocean, and it sounds like you're camping on the ocean, but you're not. You're like 2 miles in, and I was like, well, this is fucking stupid. I wanted to camp on the ocean.
Yeah, is this out by Ventura or Oxnard or something?
Up even higher. I forget. God damn it! I forget.
Oh yeah, if it's up by the Hearst Castle, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I was so bummed out, and then I was like, well, we should have just gotten a camper because our friends just got a camper. I was like, oh, and then why don't we just get a fucking hotel? Why aren't we staying in a hotel? This sucks. Mm-hmm.
It goes from tent to. I mean, we could get a camper. I mean, we could just go to Vegas. What a transition! Yeah. But I want a camper, man. I always just thought about how great it would be to have a van like that and just like pull, like I did this. I borrowed my buddy's van and went up to Ojai a couple times. Dude, you just have like a computer or something in there writing, just pull up to a river, open the door, and you got a desk. Fantastic.
I'm telling you, man, that is my dream. Like, I would love to have one of those camper vans. I go to the ones where they like if you show a guy that's got a TikTok where he's outfitting his van, all of a sudden I am there. I subscribe to him. I'm like, I want to see all this shit. And then climbers vans, like I was like, oh my God. But then I disconnect. So I like look at Alex Honnold. Alex Honnold is the guy that free solo.
The free guy. Yeah.
And I go, so what does he do at night to relax? He's like, because all his pleasures is like, if I really want to treat myself, I'll throw a couple of blueberries in my muesli. I'm like,
big day.
Yeah, I'm like, he can't. He can't jack off. His hands have the texture of dog paws. So like, what's his treat? And
Raya.
What's that?
Raya. I heard he's on Raya.
Have you ever thought about rock climbing?
Yeah, I do.
Do you really?
I'm a member at the Stronghold, which is downtown LA, which obviously there's nothing there right now. But I took a pretty brutal fall this summer with my son. It was so dumb, but I just like saw this great little kind of waterfall and was climbing next to it. And there was an easy way around. My son was on the top and I slipped and barely grabbed a hold of what would have been about a 15-foot fall. It was so dumb. My son would have been left alone in the woods. It was the dumb. I mean, my body was like fucked. It was crazy.
Really?
But I learned my lesson on that. But yeah, I do a lot of indoor climbing. I love it. Cause that thing where if you see somebody's body and you're like, God, I wish I had a body like that. I ask about it. I go up and I say, so how'd you get a body like that? and some guy goes climbing. And I'm like, all right, well, that's what I want. So that's what I'm doing.
Jared Leto's like a huge climber.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen him like out in Utah doing that stuff. Yeah.
Really? So do you take climbing trips and stuff?
I go on camping trips where climbing can be involved. Yeah. But I don't do I've never done a major like El Capitan or something like that.
Yeah. I couldn't, we did, have you ever heard of Via Ferratas?
No.
So Via Ferrata is, hey, Halston, can you share the screen and pull up something of a Via Ferrata? I think I'm saying the right thing. It is basically like a hike, right? That includes rock climbing, but you don't need any gear.
Not one of the ones where you're like hiking on a cliff and you clip in just to like stay on the thing.
No. It is. It's so fucking intense. It is, in my opinion, it's rock climbing, and I've been rock climbing and I've done hikes. It's rock climbing. It's totally rock climbing, but they are fucking terrifying. Like if you're into rock climbing, I don't think it'd be the thing that you like about rock climbing. Like you like to like climb a rock. It is a hike, but it is at insane. Look at this. Wait, it is like hiking. Like,
oh yeah. No, that would be fun. That's what I like. Yeah. I like doing stuff like that too. I've done like that. Yeah. See how that's what I was talking about. You're attached to a thing kind of walking on this hillside. I love it. It's also great for my son. I realized, because he's been climbing since he was 3 now. I've been taking him there and I put him on belay at the climbing gym. So he's up, he climbs up like 30, 40 feet and just lets go and fall, and trusts that he can fall backwards and kind of come down the wall. And then this summer he jumped off a 15 or a 20-foot cliff into the Kern River. I just took him up there and I jumped in and I go, well, now you're going to have to, because there's no other way down. And he just did it. He just jumped and he hit the water. I mean, there's no way I would have done that at his age. He was 6 at the time. There's just like zero chance. And his bravery.
Certain people are dialed into that. My youngest, there's a rock jump. We have a lake house in Alabama, and there's a rock jump, but you got to climb up it, and then you jump off, and you got to really launch off. And my wife, growing up, would do it all the time, and I've done it. I've jumped off a lot of shit just working on Travel Channel, and so Isla was like, "I want to do it. I want someone to do it with me." And I was like, "Well, I'll do it with you." I got up there, and I was like, and she's like, "You want to go first?" I go, "No, because what if you back out?" And she was like, "I'm not backing out." And I go, "Okay, then I'll go first because I might back out if you jump."
Always go first. That's my motto.
Yeah, always go first. And it was, but some people are dialed into that. Some people love that shit.
Man, there's this rock I jumped off in Canada where you have to the tide has to be up all the way. Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
The tide has to be up all the way or else you'll hit rock.
Oh.
And so we're in this boat and then we're using the depth finder and the tide's up like 3/4 and the depth finder says it's 20. And I'm like, it's fine. We're fine here. I'm going to do it. And it's like one of the ones where you have to run and jump at least like out, however many feet you have to be out there. And I got scared midair that I was going to hit the ground. Oh, my rental car is being delivered. I got scared midair that I was going to hit the ground. So I put my legs up and I ended up bruising my tailbone for like 3 months. I had to fly and I was using my neck pillow as a fucking ass pillow instead. This is very unprofessional, Bert, but I've got a rental car being delivered.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
It's like they're with Domino's. They're just delivering. Oh, I think you guys, there we go.
So are you staying in a house?
Yeah, I'm in a 5-bedroom house alone.
For real?
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's been like, there's a bidet. I've got rooms, like one of the rooms is just, I've like unloaded my suitcase in. Another room, I sometimes go in for about 5 minutes after I wake up in the morning.
What the fuck? That's crazy.
Yeah, this place. And it's like, it's ridiculous.
Has it gotten, doing a movie, has it gotten more comfortable the more movies you've done? Like, has it gone that now you're in a 5-bedroom house?
Yeah, I love it, man. I love working, like I love being around people. Like stand up, we're so singular and, you get like, I love like, the managers and the bookers and all that stuff. But when I get to be on a set, it's like, I feel like I'm part of a team.
Oh, it's like having a nuclear family.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, Bert. This is my friend Bert. We're live right now.
Hey, how you doing?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this is the car.
Great.
Okay, and I have sanitizer.
Okay.
And this is the paperwork.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Very easy process. Take care. Say hi to the family.
That's great. So this is your last day of quarantine?
Yeah.
And then how does it work? You can only be on the set, or can you go do adventures?
No, I think it's just like living in LA, I mean, like, and the thing about here is that it's less COVID here, in Vancouver. So yeah, I can like go to the grocery store and stuff. I can go to Whistler if I wanted to.
Oh my God, I would do that in a fucking heartbeat.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
But Whistler is one of my favorite. That's such a beautiful place.
Oh yeah. I grew up, in Seattle. So it was like a 4-hour drive.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. This is all your neck of the woods.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Blackcomb and Whistler were I always liked Blackcomb because it sounded cooler.
Yeah.
But I've been up there in the summer too. You can go up on the glacier.
We went up to Whistler and I bungee jumped up there. There was a great
yeah?
jump. Yeah. It was actually a really amazing bungee jump over a river, and the river was raging, and I wore khakis and my ass cheeks were sweating. So I had a big streak of wet, and it did not look as cool as I thought. All the video turned out horrible.
I'm interested to know the rate, the percentage of people that bungee jump in khakis. It can't be high. That can't be like
probably not.
No. We're talking top like 1% or so. I bungee jumped in Mexico once with 2 other guys that both weighed about 20 pounds less than me, and they never changed the rope length. It was over the ocean, and my head dipped into the ocean, and they were like 15 feet off the water.
Really?
So crazy. Yeah. I was like, shouldn't you be like adjusting? No, nah, we kind of made it for you, and then they can just
It's
do
funny.
their own thing.
Have you ever heard Shane Moss's story about jumping off a rock?
Oh, I mean, I know he broke his heel, right? Or
ooh, he told me that story he walks in, I think on crutches at the time, tells me that story on my podcast, and then I go to Zanzibar like a week later, literally a week later, and we're at this rock, and it's this old island just off the coast where they have these tortoises that are like 350 years old, and they're like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go jump off this rock, and then we'll swim back to the boat. We'll swim around the island to the boat. I was like, oh, that'll be cool. And I love the water. I'm like you. I need to be around water.
Yeah.
My wife wants to be in the mountains. I'm like, fuck the mountains. I want to be on the beach. I want to be by a river. I need water. And so our guide is this young, blonde, light, like very light, skinny kid. and he jumps off. He's like, it's a little shallow, but don't worry. You'll be fine. Just lift your feet up. And we're like, okay. So, by the way, this is a legit 20-foot jump. And so my cameraman, John Mans, does it. And he pops up and he's like, do not do it. No one jump. No one jump. But I know for a fact that like, I'm thinking to myself, this is the end of the show. Like, this is how it should go. So I go, all right, I'll tell you what. He says, don't jump. I'll jump. I'm the judge. I jump and I land on my heels. And I think I shattered both my heels. And my fucking asshole friend, John Mans, my cameraman, goes, you just talked to someone who shattered their heels. And I'm like, God damn it, I shattered my fucking heels. I shattered, and they hurt so, my fucking heels hurt so bad. And then I had to swim around.
A bruised heel, by the way, does not heal very well.
Yeah, it is. Apparently broken heels are game changers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was the worst swim I've ever had with what I thought were 2 broken heels. And then I get back and I'm like, they started feeling better. And then I ended up at some hotel drinking and I was like, I can barely feel it anymore. Woke up the next morning. Like, I feel it again.
Can't walk. Yeah. I went into, speaking of swimming in water, I went on New Year's Eve. I thought, fuck it, I'm going in the ocean. And I like kind of last minute I wanted to jump in as the sun was setting. So I went with a friend and the sun's already starting. I'm running out of the car, taking clothes off in my underwear, basically running onto the beach, just trying to get the last little sliver of sunset. And the beach is packed. I mean, so many people, nobody in the water. It was the most magical. I run in and just pull one of the big dives into a wave, and I come out and the whole beach is just applauding me. It was fucking great. And then for the next 12 hours, I thought I had COVID. And my friend was like, no, you just jumped in the ocean on December 31st. So that's going to feel that way for a while.
Yeah, it's a little cold. Those are the chills.
Yeah. Yeah, but I love cold water. I love the plunge.
Oh, dude, I'm obsessed. I love polar plunging. It's like my favorite thing to do.
You do the ice thing. You've got that one of those.
Dude, North Hollywood Ice will drop off 300 pounds of ice, which should last you an entire week of polar plunging. And they drop it off at your front door. COVID, you have to pick up a goddamn thing. And then they always throw in they have nice ice cubes, like really nice ones they throw in for me. So I love a glass of ice water with good ice, not the bullshit white people, half moon ice that everyone got in the refrigerator. I hate that ice. I'm talking like nice cube.
Like the balled up ice. What about the balled up ice though? That really good ice that's like kind of crunchy.
Oh, I love that ice. By the way, I could watch. You know, it's so funny, the thing where my real interests grow. Like when you talk about jumping off rocks, I could watch a whole show about great rocks to jump off of. Like, tell me where they are. Tell me what to do. I really enjoy that kind of fun where you take a nice hike in, you jump off a rock, you lay on a rock and get dry, you put your shoes back in, you hike out. That for me is that's like the greatest Sunday you could ever have in your life.
Do you know a rock I jumped off? Do you remember the movie Breaking Away? Daniel Stern, Dennis Quaid. It takes place in Bloomington. It was like 79 or 80 is when it came out.
I know I saw. Hang on, let me pull up the picture.
It's the kid that's a bicyclist. He wants to.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Italian bike racers.
Yeah.
And they jump into a quarry in that movie. And I remember the first time I saw that as a kid, I was obsessed with jumping off bridges. You know, this is actually a funny story. My brothers were 5 years younger, and my brother was like, "Hey, I heard a rumor at school today that you jumped off the McDonald Bridge naked." And I was like, "Yeah, that's cool. That's getting passed around too." It was like my brothers are hearing about me at school, but
that's getting passed around.
You're
telling people about it, right? Keep telling.
Wait, what the fuck was I getting into? Oh, Jesus.
You jumped off a quarry in Breaking.
Oh, yeah. So this quarry's on private property, and I was there in 2018, and I wanted to find the quarry. It's like a 2-hour hike in private property where you're walking by signs that say live ammunition, stay out. And I had like a local that didn't really know how to find it taking me. And then we found it.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. See if you can find the rock that you jump off of there. That's one of them. But there's actually like a big limestone that people jump off that did jump off in the movie. And I jumped off of it. It was amazing. And then I got a tick.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I got a tick, and I had Lyme disease for like 3 months.
Lyme disease sucks, man.
It was the worst.
What?
But it was worth it for the jump.
Wait, so you ready? I'm gonna up your jump. Right, this is like epic. Did you ever see the movie 247 Hours or whatever it is with James Franco, where he cuts his arm off? You know that rock that they jumped out of, that like where they're like, he's like, just let go, and they let go and they fall. We did that jump.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we did that jump, but it's different than what it says it is. So it says it's one thing where they like get in this thing and they just let go and fall. What it really is a crater that has a hole in the center of it. And you climb into the hole and then jump into the hole and you end up, goddamn, I wish I could tell you what it was, Halston. I don't even know. See if you can find it, Halston. But it was such an intense jump. And then we got it. I mean, it's like I want to say it's a huge jump into a crater full that is just filled with water and goes down like 100 feet. And then we got on scuba tanks and sunk to the bottom. Like,
oh, wow.
Like, with no training, no, like just some guy had a scuba tank. He's like, you guys want to go down? And we're like, sure. And he's like, come on, put it in our mouth. It took us down. I think one person didn't even have goggles on. It was like fucking really, it was one of the most intense. That was an intense jump.
Scuba Steve's just hanging out in there with a fucking, that's amazing. You scuba dive though, right? I think I feel like I've seen that. Yeah.
I scuba dive. I don't like it.
No.
I get panic attacks. I like here because I'm never scuba diving on my watch. Like I've never gone scuba diving where I got to make the calls. All my scuba diving adventures were like, okay, so we're going down to 90 feet. I'm like, that seems deep. And they're like, you're fine. And then I'm like, well, no, I wish I could speak up or advocate for my own self right now.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're like, hey, thunderstorm, but we got to get down there quick because this storm's rolling in. And I'm like, that doesn't seem fun. Like, can't we do like the ones where Nick Nolte did, where it's around a reef and there's a half naked girl and there's cocaine bottles and I catch him. I don't know what movie that is, but I was like, I want to do like fun, lighthearted scuba diving where it's like 20 feet and I'm really enjoying it. And I've never done that. And by the way, I think anyone who's really a scuba diver is like, there's no reason to scuba dive those. Why don't you just snorkel? I go, yeah, I want to get comfortable first and then put me at 90 feet.
Yeah, also the thought of a storm being up there when you come out of the water just doesn't sound fun.
Two of my dive trips were the worst storms I've ever seen coming in. One, we were in an aluminum boat. And I was like, I guess being in the water is safer than this. Like, I don't know what to say. And we had to do it twice. We went down to 90 feet and we all ran out of air. So we all started coming back up slow as fuck. Then they keep you at 15 feet. They bring a squid down, I think is what they call it, like a tank with a bunch of things on it. And we hang out at 15 feet because we're out of air on this other oxygen tank. We get up. They trade out our tanks. And then I had to go down to fucking 30 feet and just sit there by myself because it was how I got my certification. So I'm just sitting at 30 feet with a trainer and it was so not enjoyable. The other one was in Japan in fucking small craft advisory. We go down to swim with whale sharks. Not enjoyable in my opinion. It's like imagine going to the zoo and they're like, hey, we're going to look at the tiger exhibit for 30 minutes. And you're like, I don't know if I can do it for 30 minutes. I could 5 minutes is cool. And they're like, well, why would we go for 5 minutes? We sat and stared.
Yeah, I know. How about 30 seconds then?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, show me another fucking thing. So we go down to 40 feet and just stare at this whale shark for 30 minutes. We come up. Everyone on the boat is throwing up aggressively. Like just over.
Yeah, I feel like that's like going to a day movie, where you kind of get in a theater and you're like, okay, it's not bad. And then you walk out and it's daytime and you're like, Jesus fucking Christ, what is going on out here? It's supposed to be dark by now.
We got up to the top and they're like, everyone in the boat now, get the fuck out of here.
You're coming up and you see somebody just like.
That was the biggest shooting anything on television in underwater is such a shit show every time.
Yeah.
we told one of our, you map it out, right? We're like, all right, so we're going to drop down with the 2 trip flip people. We're going to drop down to 40 feet. We're going to hang out here. Now, what we need you to do is you got to swim into the net where the whale shark is and then shoot us and the whale shark. And we're in the background. And they're like, okay. And so we get down to 40 feet and we're looking at the whale shark. And I'm looking at my cameraman in scuba gear go. And then all of a sudden I see my sound guy, or not sound guy, my other cameraman go down to him. And then I see the guide. Now it's just me and all the people are down there. My cameraman's caught in the netting.
That just sounds horrible. It just sounds horrible. I like the snorkel. I'm fine with that.
Dude, we went. I'll tell you what I could really get into, and I keep thinking like when you talk like when I look at your Instagram and I see you kind of really living your life, and I think that has been a lot of the inspiration of when I go on these long stretches of not boozing is I see guys like you and Moshe living a life, like really living a life. And I think a lot of people think that drugs and alcohol and being out late, that's living the life. Living the life's the shit that happens in the daytime and spending time with your kids. And you guys, I keep thinking of all the activities I want to do. Like where I go, I want to start surfing. And one of my big ones was spearfishing. I was like, oh, I'd love to spearfish.
I want to do that. My dad did that when he was younger.
For real?
It just seems fun. Yeah.
Oh, we did it once in Florida. It was so fucking fun.
I love fishing in general, but the idea of actually making it more of a sport, being underwater, sounds fun.
Oh, we went out in Florida. We went off the coast by like 40 minutes off the coast down to this reef. And I mean, it's silly. We were just shooting barracuda, but it was so much fun to like dive down, follow it, track it, shoot it, and then swim it up to the thing and then bring it over to the boat. And Dave Williamson was legit spearfishing. He was like getting real fish. But it was like, it was fun just everyone being in the water. There were sharks in the water. And for whatever reason, not afraid. I was like, whatever.
Yeah, the shark thing. My dad was one time he was out doing that and he was in a little dinghy and a hammerhead started circling him.
Really?
He was in his dinghy and I forget, he's like somewhere across the world because he used to work on a boat. But yeah, I just think the thought of sharks at a young age, seeing Jaws, I just thought I can't.
Do you go surfing at all?
No, I mean, I can't, I have, yeah. And I do, I like to, but I don't like wetsuits. I don't.
Yeah.
The whole process is just not that fun for me. That little moment when you're surfing, that's fun. The swimming out, the cardio, it's just exhausting.
I'm trying to get this kid on my podcast, Nathan Florence. He's a big surfer out, and like because of this one kid's vlog, it's so funny, man, how social media can like you feel like you're a part of something. This one kid's vlog, I started watching it, and he just has really positive energy. And he's a part of this like big group of like legit surfers in Hawaii. And I so badly just want to be like, hey man, next summer I'm moving down there. I'm getting a place. I'm going to be in the water. You need to teach me how to surf. I want to surf Jaws. I want to surf. Like I would love to get into it, but I feel like I end up going like, fuck it. Let's just go on tour.
Yeah.
Let's go on
tour.
The
surfing thing. I mean, Moshe surfs a lot.
Yeah.
That's his thing. They're getting up early, going out, we live in the East Side. It's just a lot.
Oh yeah. That's a long drive.
I have you mentioned tour. I'm like, I have no touring ahead of me. I can't even fathom touring.
Well, they just opened up theaters. They're going to open up theaters and they announced they're opening theaters in New York. So that's like the first, and no one thought it was going to happen this fast, but that's like the first leg of everything starting to open. I have a tour planned in August or October, maybe tentatively. And then I'm not in a rush to get back into theaters. I don't mind the outdoor shit. I'm going to try to find more cool outdoor venues,
Yeah, that would be, I mean, that looked fun what you were doing. I don't know how fun the drive-in movie theater type show is when everyone's so separated, but to be outside.
Dude, let me tell you something. I I can't tip the hat too much, but I have something planned that I think is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm going to try to bring as many really great comedians as possible. And it's going to be a blast. I haven't figured out, but I'm going to make you do one and you're going to love it. You're going to love it because it's so you. You really are all the things that like that we do on the road, like that we're texting you going, Nick, where do we go? Like you're, and so I'm telling you, man, if it works out, I'm going to hit you up and we'll have some good times this spring or this fall if you're not shooting a movie or something.
I love it. You know, I mean, outdoor amphitheaters there's so many of those.
They're so much fun. And especially after doing all those drive-ins, they have those like civic amphitheaters that they have like all throughout Northern California. Those civic amphitheaters are fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I remember
I've done one of those.
I did when I was young. That was like $1,000 night. You could do it. And I would bomb. And that was,
I would love, I did that outdoor tour. It was like Amy. Yeah. And those were like outdoor shows that were crazy big. That was so fun. I mean, oh yeah. Red Rocks, all that stuff. It's just,
wow.
Have you done Red Rocks? I'm surprised you probably could.
No, I was scheduled to do it with Jim Jeffries and I were going to do it in October of this last year. And we're not supposed to announce it, but we're booked to do it October again. I'm just assuming everything's going to shift, but we're supposed to do it again in October.
That's fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to do that.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Listen, if you're having trouble meeting your goals, difficulty in your relationships, trouble sleeping, feeling depressed, stressed, BetterHelp is available. BetterHelp offers online professional counselors who can listen and help. Listen, trust me, I do this across the board. I've been doing it for a long time. I love getting online help. I don't like going in person. All you got to do is simply fill out a questionnaire to assess your needs, and BetterHelp will match you with your own licensed professional therapist, and you can start talking within 48 hours. It's not a crisis line. It's not a self-help line. This is secure online professional counseling. BetterHelp counselors have a broad range of expertise, which may not be available in your area. That's what's important. That's what's beautiful online. This service is available for clients worldwide. You just log into your account anytime, send unlimited messages to your counselor, and you'll get timely, thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly videos or phone session, and everything you share is confidential. And you won't ever have to sit in a waiting room or go sit in person or sit in traffic. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, and it's so easy and free to change counselors if needed. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp, they're recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Bertcast listeners can get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Bert. Visit betterhelp.com/Bert and join the over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced BetterHelp professional. Извините, пожалуйста, меня зовут Bert, очень приятно, я работаю кошка. I learned that on Babbel, not in my Russian classes. Babbel's the #1 selling language learning app. Did that make sense? The #1 selling language learning app. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, maybe I should get Babbel for English. And one of my goals is I'm going to learn a new language. What language, Bert? I can't tell you. But I am getting Babbel. I saw a commercial on TV the other day. This lady walks into a restaurant and orders in Spanish. And then this little girl comes up and says, hey, did you learn that? And she goes, I learned it on Babbel. I literally was so taken by that. And then she touched the girl's nose at the very end. I thought it was such a great commercial. And I'm glad that they're a sponsor of this podcast. Babbel's 15-minute lessons make it the perfect way to learn a new language on the go. I am learning a new language. I'm telling you, it's super easy. Unlike the infamous language classes you did or didn't take in college or high school, Babbel designs their courses with practical, real-world conversations in mind. Things you'll get used to in everyday life. Other language learning apps use AI for their lesson plans, but Babbel lessons are created by over 100 language experts. Their teaching method has been significantly proven to be effective. And with Babbel, you can choose from 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German. I'm going to Babbel right now. Plus, they have this speech recognition technology, helps you improve your pronunciation and accent. I'm certain you're going, Bert, your pronunciation and accent is fucking horrible. Right now, you can, when you purchase a 3-month Babbel subscription, you will get an additional 3 months for free. I am doing this. And I'm learning a language. I promise you that. That's 6 months for the price of 3. Just go to babbel.com and use the promo code BERT. That's BABBEL.com, and the code's BERT for an extra 3 months for free. Babbel, language for life.
But yeah, I want to talk to you off air about some stuff. But so wait, here's my question. So you booked the movie probably like what, a month ago, 2 months ago?
Yeah.
The new one. And then you're going up there to Vancouver. Do you start getting on your computer and going like, I need to find some activities to do?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Really?
And I also just start asking people that I know from, because you know how you collect friends all over the world at some point. It's really easy, but also Vancouver is just, I mean, you can ski 20 minutes out of the city. You know, they've got like skiing like that close. It's so nice. And it's just beautiful. And also they just have like a park here in town. I can't even think of the name of it right now, but ride your bike around that. You could get lost for days.
Really? And so
it's just in Vancouver.
When do you start shooting?
Tomorrow I go do wardrobe. I start next week, I think.
So what's the process of that? So you go, you show up, you do 10 days or what it was, 14 days.
14, yeah.
And then it's what, like another technically 14 days you do rehearsals and stuff?
I've done some rehearsals on the phone on Zoom.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. But, do rehearsals there. I shot something else in the summer and, it's like you're wearing a mask until they say action pretty much. Somebody comes up and grabs it. You're doing mouthwash the whole time. You're doing, checking temperatures. It just adds a really not fun element to an already stressful, because the actor, it sounds dumb, but there's so many things that are happening to you before you get on camera. There's a sound guy that's in your fucking face, like fixing a thing and then talk and then, nope, that's not right. Let me get under your shirt. You mind taking your shirt off actually? And we're going to run this down your pant leg. And you're just like, okay, I got to be on in like 2 minutes and this is stressing me out. But now they're like, and now you got to drink this thing, wear a mask the whole fucking time and keep a distance and a face guard. And like, just like, oh God.
Holy crap. And so is it the first time you start acting with someone is when like you're taking your mask off? That's the first time you're really like, you haven't, is it almost like having sex with someone where you haven't kissed them yet?
I mean, I wish that was something I've done, but
you weren't married long enough.
I as far as acting, I don't know what I'm doing half the time. I'm just really trying to look like I'm slightly aware and not dumb. But I'm sure for real actors, that's what it feels like. For me, it's like, I mean, they could not be there and I'll probably give the same performance.
And then when the movie comes out, like your new movie, do you watch it?
I watched this one that's out right now. I do like to watch them. I like it, especially if it's like I was on this series called Love Life that's on HBO that I get to do like these couple episodes of where I play just a really asshole kind of a guy. And it was really fun. And it was with Anna Kendrick, which was really fun because her acting level is just like, it blew my mind working with her.
She's next level.
I really wanted to watch that. Oh yeah. Yeah. She's next level.
She really is good. Like, I mean, she's like, is it like, I'm sure the answer you can't answer. I know what you have to say, even if it's true, but is she like a robot? Like she fucking kills it on so many levels that I go, there's no way someone's got all that shit together. Like I'm a fucking mess. She's hilarious on Twitter. Fucking hilarious on Twitter. She can sing. She can dance.
The singing is insane. She's so good at it.
She's amazing. Dude, I did the Trouble feature with like where we watched all the Pitch Perfects, me and my daughters and all.
Oh yeah.
in a movie theater. We spent a whole day in a movie theater watching them. I know how good that woman is. Is she like cool to be around?
Yeah. I mean, she was also producing the show. I mean, so she was really kind of getting pulled at all angles, but she was really good about not, because I think a lot of people do that and then they don't connect with the actors because they're producing and trying to figure stuff out. And she connected. It was great. We had lunches together and
really,
she made me feel good and at home, and she was complimentary, which, it can be intimidating working with somebody. So if they're actually giving on top of, that, it was great. And there was a lot of there were a lot of sex scenes. So we had to do like do a lot of that, which that can be awkward. And it wasn't. It was nice. It was easy.
For real?
Yeah. Yeah. It was very business-like, just totally like, and cut. Cool. So what are we doing on lunch? Like Nick, and they're giving me my shirt, my pants. And I'm like,
were you totally naked or did you have a sock on your dick?
No, they never had me like, actually, no, I was naked once because they have a shot of my ass in it, but of me lying on the bed. But no, I had underwear on and they just cheated the shots and like pulled it down enough. Yeah.
What's the movie role you want to do? Like, you're like, oh, you know what I'd love? I would love for someone in Hollywood to be like, Nick is the next John Wick.
Oh, no, Fletch. Like I'm writing something right now where it's this guy that's, like just an investigative guy that is kind of I want to narrate the movie and have it, like I just love that about Fletch, that Chevy Chase's voice is narrating and he's like, and the thing I love about that movie too, is this is the way they made comedies back then. He's the only comedic actor in the movie. Everyone else is just an actor, which is great. Not just, but everyone else is like real actors. So no one's like, it's not like, oh, here's a wacky coffee shop scene where the barista's funny. It's like, no, everybody's normal. And they're not trying to score comedically in scenes. They're just trying to act. And then Chevy Chase can bounce off of all that. And I feel like that's really lost these days. Just there's so many people that they just try and let's get this person in, and the barista's funny now. And the waitress her shirt's going to pop off. And, it's like,
that is like a mind blowing thought, because you're right. In real life, when we interact with people, quite often, I am the funniest person. I'm the only one trying to be funny. My whole interaction this morning, I am the only one laughing at this. And I'm the only one like making people and in every movie, it's like, how often do you run into a wacky pharmacist who's like, I'm going tit for tat with you, motherfucker. And you're like, that never happens.
No. And it kind of takes away from the steam of the movie too, because it's like, why did we have to have that whole interaction with the barista that didn't add to the plot and didn't add to the character of this guy that we're really supposed to be invested in,
God, when do you think that happened, that they shifted movies where everyone is like, everyone's going for the laugh?
I mean,
because like Tommy,
think about like Lethal Weapon,
oh, Lethal Weapon. Yeah. I just watched that the other night.
Yeah, I did too. I love that movie.
I love that movie.
And then the Eddie Murphy ones that are like the best. Where he's a Detroit cop and he comes to LA. Yeah. Oh, those are so good. And that's just focused around here's why that's hard to do, because no one is Eddie Murphy. I mean,
I was about to say 48 Hours did it. And I was like, oh yeah. 48 Hours was a serious fucking cop mystery that was hilarious. And no one does that. No one just puts all their chips on one guy and they're like, let's let like it would be in real life, let's let this person be hilarious.
Ace Ventura.
Oh yeah. God, what I'm telling you, man.
Courtney Cox, like every actor in that's an actor. Yeah. You know what they did in the MacGyver movie, MacGruber. They have like really funny people in that, but then they have Ryan Felipe, who's an actor, and they have Val Kilmer, who's great, and also like so good at committing that it's funny when his name's Cunt in it, like it. And you watch that and you're like, oh, it's great, because now MacGruber Yes, he is nuts, and he's so fun to watch around these straight people.
Yeah,
they're just
is that I always get him and the other one mixed up. They're two guys that look alike that were on SNL at the same time.
Will Forte and Bill Hader.
Yeah, I always get them mixed up. Bill Hader, well, they're both hilarious, but Bill's Hader's in MacGruber, right?
No, that's Will Forte.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Will Forte is fucking hilarious. They're both fucking hilarious.
Oh, it's insane. The depth on those guys is just crazy. Will Forte, man, I remember one time at South by Southwest, I was walking out of a show or something, and this RV pulls up and the door opens, and it's Will Hader, and he's like holding a microphone, singing a Bruce Springsteen song, and he's like, "Come on in." And I just hopped into this karaoke RV that was being run by Bill Hader, and it was maybe one of the best nights I could ever remember, to be honest.
I gotta see. I'm gonna pull up. Hey, Paulson, pull up a picture of Bill Hader and Will Forte. Will Hader and
no, that was Will Forte that pulled up with the
Will Forte. God damn it!
And the
they're
karaoke.
They're like the who were the two actors that everyone used to confuse? Bill Pullman and Bill Paxton.
Oh yeah,
it's Bill's. It's Will's. Is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one of them who died, Bill Pullman, Paxton.
So that's
yeah. There they are, side by side. Okay.
God damn it! They don't even look that much alike, but I fucking mix them up constantly.
And Bill Hader is more of a character, like just he can just chameleon into anything. And then Will Forte is just maybe one of the funniest people that exist. I mean, Will Forte is fucking awesome, dude. MacGruber was a goddamn funny fucking movie. Oh God, I love that movie. I guess it's good to be confused with someone who's also hilarious. Yeah. I wonder how many jobs. It's like when Bill Murray took the Garfield job, and he thought just that the Coens were doing it, but he found out it was just some other guy named Cohen, and he still had to do Garfield. It's like, I wonder how many jobs they've accidentally slipped into thinking they were the other one. That was the big story about Dane, is that Dane got, I don't know if this is true or not. I'm curious to ask Dane, but the rumor was that he got like a big development deal, and then he signs with ICM, and then they get a call, and they're like, straight offer, we want him to do Simon Says, and with Dennis Rodman, and everyone's like, okay. And they fucking turn it around, close the deal quick, and then they call Dane. You're like, you're doing a movie with Dennis Rodman, and he's like, shut the fuck up. And then he shows up, and they're like, wait, this isn't the right guy. And they're like, what? And they're like, this is who we wanted. And they're like, no, you said this. And they went, oh my God, we mixed him up. We wanted the other guy. And they're like, well, you got that guy, and he's a comedian, and he's going to kill it. I don't know if that's true, but I remember hearing that, and I was like, fucking get me one of those roles. I mean, the contract's done. You're still getting paid at that point. And you're doing a major motion picture. Did he do that movie? He did. Simon Says with Dennis Rodman. Him and Dennis Rodman did a movie. Wow. Yeah. God, to be a fly on the wall for that. Dennis Rodman, I love that. I love his part of the story of the Michael Jordan documentaries. Just so fascinating. Right? Like they were just like, yeah, take some time off, go to Vegas. You gotta let Dennis be Dennis. I always wanted people to think that I always wanted to have my heroes were like the guys like that. Like the guys that were Wild Childs, like the Belushis and the Farleys. And then I think as I started morphing, maybe like leaning towards that, you realize, oh, now I understand why they're dead. Like I get a lot of what was really upsetting Chris Farley. when he's like, oh, people just see me as a fat drunk, and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, people don't recognize me with a shirt on. Yeah. People go, so you're the like, I'll tell you the name, and then I will just have Carlston bleep it out. Texted me the other day, and she goes, I just want you to know, I got a call from David Letterman, and we were just talking, and in the middle he was like, hey, do you know why Bert takes his shirt off? and she was like, no. And he goes, I can't figure it out. Like, it doesn't make any sense. He doesn't need to. He's really funny. And she was like, I thought I'd let you know that, David Letterman brought you up. And I was like fucking through the roof. And then I'm like, two things. I go, I got to start putting my shirt on. And then I was like, wait, would David Letterman know who I am if my shirt was on?
Like,
Yeah.
because and I was like, fuck it, it stays off forever.
I mean, that's amazing. That's the thought of David Letterman just casually bringing up my name in a conversation would probably make. I'd have to put that on my credits.
I have a video.
You know him from a phone call where David Letterman mentions his name.
You know him from a phone call. You might know this next guy from a random text Sarah Silverman sent David sent him.
Dude, there's a comedian. I'm not going to say his name. I mean, I don't want to say his name, but he had a website. Like this was like back when, you know, we're like doing the improv and redheaded guy. Tall.
I know. I already know who we were talking. By the way, I already knew who we were talking about when you started this. Keep going.
And he had a quotes page on his website. And one of the quotes on the page was, "Great set, Jerry Seinfeld." like you know, that was in passing. Didn't see his set walking on a stage after he introduced them. Great set, Jerry Seinfeld.
I was sitting next to Patrice O'Neill and in New York when I first started, and there's a guy I think I know who the guy is, but I couldn't tell you with 100% certainty, but I almost know who this is. And his credits were he's open for Adam Sandler. And I was so impressed with that credit. And I remember as they were bringing him up, Patrice was sitting next to me and was like, "What a stupid fucking credit." He goes, "That he didn't earn that." Like, just starts destroying him. And I was like, I was on the other side of the fence going, God, I wish one day I can open for Adam Sandler.
I mean, there's another comedian that would have his, you know, he was like one small character in like 10 Things I Hate About You. I know
this guy too, Nick. Nick, I know both these guys.
And his intro was like, "This guy from 10 Things I Hate About You," you know, and it's like, dude.
Oh.
Whenever people ask me about credits, I'm like, just say I'm a professional. You know, just let them know they can relax for the next 15 minutes. And like, I don't know what to say, and I don't care. Who cares?
I said, I used to fuck up intros so bad. I brought up, I want to say it was Alan Havey. I don't think it was Alan Havey. What's it? Rick Duke, not
Overton.
Dukeman. Oh, Rick Overton. I brought up Rick Overton one time. I think Alan Havey went to Florida State. I brought up Rick Overton one time. And by the way, I'm a young comic and he is a well-accomplished comic. And I go over and I said, "Hey, I'm Bert. Are you Rick?" And he goes, "I am." And I said, "Hey, what do you want me to say about you, like coming on stage?" And he goes, "Just my credits." And I go, "Yeah, I don't know what those are." And he was like, "How about Emmy award-winning writer for whatever?" And I was like, he goes, "Is that too much to ask?" And I was like, "Sure." And so I went and brought him up and I was like, "This next guy is an Emmy award-winning writer." The best one ever. Okay. Once again, I don't know how real this is. Like, you know, folklore and comedy, the better the story, you just fucking let it get better. Don't ignore the truth. I just want to laugh. The best one ever was, like I said, I don't know how accurate this is. This guy, Louis Schaefer, used to work the Boston Comedy Club in New York, and Judy Gold shows up. I love Judy Gold. Gold.
Yeah, me too.
This is not going to turn out good for her, this story, but I love Judy Gold. So I'd be curious to know who really happened with this. But Louis Schaefer is how I heard it. So he comes back and he's like, what do you want me to say about you? And she's like, "First of all, don't say anything about me being a woman, and don't say anything about my height." And he goes, "Okay." And she goes, "Hey, did you fucking get that?" Because he's ignoring her a little bit. And he goes, "What?" She goes, "I said, whatever the fuck you do, don't say anything about my fucking height." And he goes, "Not even like a joke?" And she goes, "Nothing about my height." So he goes up on stage and he goes, "What can I say about this next woman other than fee, fi, fo, fum?" And I love Judy Gold. But goddamn, that fee, fi, fo, fum. I would love for Judy to tell me how that really happened, because it's funny. It's like, you can like a comic and then and enjoy them getting shit on at times, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and I just, certain times you just still get a kick out of it. I remember Mike Epps one time, this is all fucking gossip now. Probably shouldn't even tell. We should just switch subjects.
You know what I love is that I did a corporate gig and they were like, hey, we want you to roast the executives. And they give me like 4 pictures of these executives. It was for a holiday party. And it's like, this is Dan. He's a total numbers guy. Like these are all the fodder they gave me to write roast. And, you know, people like don't know me as a roast comic at all.
Yeah.
So I'm like looking at this and then I realized under all like, oh, you went to Kansas University. Don't bring up the Hawkeyes, you know, whatever. And I'm like, oh my God. So I get this, you know, it's just these 4 white guys that are in their late 20s that started a company that's working. And I look under that and it says, do not bring up sex, gender, politics. Like it just goes into everything. So my first joke was, they asked me to, you know, roast the guys and, you know, I'm excited and they gave me a list of things that I'm not supposed to touch, you know, and, you know, sex and gender. And, you know, obviously those were 2 things that weren't discussed when choosing the executives of this company. And all I have on my screen are 4 white executives that are looking at me, these 4 white guys. And they're just looking at me like, God damn it. And then I go on Instagram after this thing. And like I had so many messages. You never get messages from corporate gigs, like ever. First one is this black dude with a fist. It says, thanks for saying it. And I was like, oh God. And it was just like, I hope you got paid, man. They were not happy. Because the other thing they said is they go, oh, this Dan guy, he always leaves the meetings to go pee. Like that was the thing. So my roast for him was like, you know, we all know about Dan and you know, headed to the bathroom in the middle of a meeting. And I'm so sorry. It's so apologetic. And that's what we love about him. But, you know, I wanted to know more about where this came from. So I called up Gloria, Dan's mom. And she wouldn't give me any dirt. I mean, talk about a proud mother. And, you know, she's just so proud that he's had 47 dry nights in a row and we're going for 50. And if he gets it, we're going to get rid of the rubber sheets. And we're so proud of him. And just again, Dan's in the corner, just like, oh no. And I go, if everybody could send maybe a company wide email right now, just congratulating Dan on 47 dry nights.
Start the thread.
Just, oh my God. But, you know, introductions are great though. I wanted to get this one in with Richard Lewis. I was opening for him in Tampa, I think, or something. And his whole thing was, I'm not at the club. I'm on the club when I'm on stage. So I'm at my hotel. There's a driver outside. When it's 5 or 10 minutes before I go on stage, I get in the car, I go, they bring me into the kitchen. I walk on stage, I walk out into the car and I go back to the hotel. And that's every set. I'm a new feature act. I don't know a lot, you know, they're only lighting with a candle in the back. Like the guy's lifting up a candle or something. And so that's stressful for me because it's like, so he's back there, like we know for sure, you know? And so I'm doing a set and I'm not getting the candle. And so in my mind, I'm like, well, obviously something happened. They got in a car accident, you know, whatever, bad traffic, who knows? So I'm stretching it in 20 minutes set into 40 minutes at this point. And then I just see a candle just waving in the back, just sporadically. And I get off stage and they were like, what the fuck? And they go, Richard Lewis was literally pacing in the kitchen yelling, get that fucking gigolo off the stage right now. Gigolo. And I'm stretching material that I don't even know what I'm doing. And then and then I realized that the manager never lit me. He just he just never come in to do it. So I was never lit. And Richard got notified about that. And the next day he like came in, he's like, tell him I want to talk to him before I come on stage. So I introduce him and then I walk into hey, when I opened for, you know, Robert Klein, I got off on 20 minutes every time, didn't need a light, but I heard there was a mistake. So I understand. And he walked out and I'm like, well, that's the one interaction we had all weekend.
Oh my God.
Very, very interesting.
Those
I don't know
guys,
if you've ever done stand up with him.
No, I haven't. I did stand up with some of those guys that were a little like older. Like I did it with Kevin Pollak one time. And, and it was actually one of the more pleasant exchanges I've ever had. I got I go up first show and I fucking murder. I rip it dirty as fuck. Hey, ever jack off in a whatever I did, right? Kills. Ever put a toothbrush on your balls and then you put it back? You're like, fuck you, bitch. This is my party now. Whatever. I don't know what I did.
Just off the top of my head, probably the toothbrush bit.
I had a great closer, toothbrush on the balls closer. So it's your house and I brought my balls. And so I get off stage and I'm upstairs and the manager's like, hey, he's Kevin Pollak's not really happy with your set. And I was like, really? And he was like, he was up there and he was pacing it. He didn't enjoy it. And he's like, they've requested that we bring up 2 vodka tonics or vodka sodas. He'd like to have a conversation with you in between shows. And I was like, fuck. So I murder one immediately and then send down for my other one. So I'm sitting there. I'm now have a brand new one and I've already killed one. He's got one. And he comes in and he goes, I said, hey, I'm really sorry. He goes, no. He goes, you're very funny. It's not what I enjoy. And he sits down and he goes, I'm gonna just explain something to you. I don't know who you are. And I said, okay. And he goes, and they don't know who you are either. I said, okay. And he goes, and the management, when you leave, they're probably not going to know who you are. He goes, but this is my crowd. And if you want me to watch your sets, I'll watch your sets. You can fail all weekend. I don't care. You won't get fired. But I don't want to follow that shit. So he said, so try new material, try clean material, and I'll give you notes all weekend, but I can't watch that again. And I was like, okay. It was like really and so I went down the next show and I crammed anything clean I had in. I worked all clean and I didn't do any crowd work. And I was like, and I got done and he came up and he's like, all right, here's what I like. And then all of a sudden we had a great fucking weekend. Like every time we get a vodka soda and we talk about comedy. And it was like a realization of like, is that first time that you realized, oh, I'm not gonna blow him off stage and then they're gonna switch it. And then that's how my career is gonna take off. I remember Attell saying very shortly after that, Attell saying the exact same thing to me, almost verbatim is like, hey, you're not getting fired if you bomb. Like, don't try to kill. Just go up there and write new material. This is the only time in your life you're going to be able to do new material and you're not going to get fired. He goes, when you get to my level, you can't just go out with nothing. But now you can go out with nothing. And if you bomb, I don't give a fuck. And I was like, oh, good call. And I started, and then from that moment on, I never featured again, ever trying to kill. And it was like the greatest advice I ever got. I don't think I've heard too many cunts though.
What's that?
I'm trying to think of like rough ones.
I really didn't. I featured for Billy Gardell twice.
Yeah.
Which was amazing. I mean, that guy taught me something. He comes off, I come off stage. He's like, I want to talk to you after the show. I come back and he goes, listen, he goes, your jokes are funny. They're unique and they're interesting. He goes, but you're just delivering them all wrong. And he goes, because I noticed about his set, the guy's got people belly laughing within 4 minutes. I mean, just keeled over. I mean, just one of the strongest comedians I've ever seen. And he goes, what I do is I break the audience into thirds. I got the middle, I got over here, I got over here. And I deliver my jokes in thirds. Start this joke here, middle part, end. Start, middle part, end. Start, middle part, end. I just spray it. I'm delivering the middles and the ends and the beginnings at different thirds. And within 4 minutes, the audience is just engulfed in flames. Like it's just a fucking fire that's had too much wind on it. And there's no turning it off at this point, you know? Wow. And first show I did that, the next show, it just changed everything for me. I was like, oh, you know, and so having a headliner that doesn't care if you kill or do good, that was like something, because I've had people that go up and they kill and they're not good. And that's kind of sucks, you know, like,
yeah. I think that's what Kevin Pollak was saying to me. He was like, hey man, this is horrible. Like I can't sit and watch this. You're talking about your balls and your dick, which is, hey man, you want to earn yourself 22 years in the business and then do that? Sure. Have it. But if fucking 4 years in, 5 years in, this is where you are, there's nowhere up from here.
Yeah. And if somebody goes up in front of you and is really good, oh man, that just makes the show better. Even if they don't kill, if they're interesting and they're thoughtful and they're polite, you know, like because I tell them, like, don't talk. The audience is not yours. Don't go out there and make buddies with them. Go out there and present your material. And then, and when I get people that are crowd work guys, I'm just like, stop, dude. Just don't. That's my go-to. If things go wrong somehow, I need to be able to go into that crowd.
Yeah.
And if you've done it, then it's already ruined. Which I do like talking to the crowd, but I don't do it very often.
If you're a contact lens wearer, ordering contacts can be an outright hassle. Well, now you can order your contacts without even leaving the house. It's super easy to do with 1-800-CONTACTS. 1-800-CONTACTS has been delivering contact lenses for 25 years. And they have your contacts in stock, even if you have a strong prescription or an astigmatism. I don't even really know what an astigmatism is. I wonder if I've got one and I don't even know it. I wonder how many people, never mind. With 25 years in business, they've been getting contact lenses incredibly fast and easy. And they've made getting contact lenses incredibly fast and easy as well. They even have a way to renew your prescription online if it's expired. And it's worth remembering that if you're ordering now, you can use your flex spending account or vision insurance benefits before they expire. You can even renew your prescription online in just 10 minutes. It could not be simpler. They also have 24/7 award-winning customer support if you ever have any questions. And they're best. I am giggling like a schoolboy in this read. I'm so sorry. And their best guarantee means that if you find your contacts at a lower price anywhere, they'll beat it. They've got your contacts in stock. Trust me, they've been doing this for over 25 years. So let 1-800-CONTACTS get you the contact lenses you need. Order online at 1-800-CONTACTS.com. Order online at 1-800-CONTACTS.com. Or you can just call 1-800-CONTACTS. That's 1-800-266-8228. You are unique, and so are your taxes. TurboTax Live has experienced tax experts who listen to you, learn about your unique tax situation, and answer your questions. And on top of all of that, they can do your taxes from start to finish. Maybe you just started investing and want some reassurance from an expert that you're doing things right. Maybe now you're self-employed and you need some expert advice on what qualifies as a home office deduction. Or maybe you'd rather have an expert file your taxes so you can focus on what matters the most, no matter what your situation is. TurboTax Live experts can answer specific questions, walk you through the process, review your return before you file, and even do it all for you. TurboTax Live gives you the confidence that your uniquely you taxes are done right. Intuit TurboTax Live. File with the help of an expert or let an expert file for you.
And I
really...
Yeah, and if things are going sideways, I feel like I haven't done stand-up in so long. It's so weird to talk about. Like I don't go into the crowd, and I'm like, because they're in a car. What am I talking about going into the crowd? I'm like, I haven't done it because they're a quarter of a mile away from me.
Doing car work.
So, but fucking, yeah.
Look at this guy's headlights.
The boss did that. Boss did that and started lighting up people on their cars. He did Colin Quinn special. And he's like, look at that Corolla. And the way Boss's brain works is that, yeah, I think I never really called anyone out when I worked with people that would do that. I never called them out. I just wrote them off in my head and then never spoke to them again. Like when I should have done the thing where, like what a man does, where you pull them aside and go, hey man, here's what's going on. And then you explain how the business works. But I just would be like, there were a couple guys I was like, fuck that guy. Fucking doing merch pitches.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
You know what I also can't stand, and I've gotten very vocal about this, is their assessment of the crowd. Like, they're off stage, the host goes on, they walk back. There's just a minimal interaction, if I allow that even. I'll sometimes just go out in the crowd and come through there because I don't want to fucking see them. Yeah. Not that unless they're my friend that I brought, like, because sometimes when you just get thrown somebody, but they're like little tight, and I want to be like, hey, listen, your idea of what that crowd is means zero to me. So don't try and explain to me who they are, because I'm going to get them. I don't sometimes miss, like, it's going to work.
Sometimes miss. You want to hear a great one? You want to hear, this is one of my favorites. So this is, I get offered a deal to headline. It was $5 fucking grand. I got paid $5 grand. This is like back when, like, I remember I wasn't getting $1,000 to headline. I got $5 grand to headline a club. It was like right on the corner of right on the cusp of Soho. And I forget what it was called, but it was in New York, and they did full weekends. And so I get there, I get in the green room.
7-show weekend?
Yeah, 7-show weekend. I get in the green room, and Jessica Kirson is in the green room. And I'm like, hey, talking to her. And Joe DeRosa rolls in just a little late. And he's hosting. And Joe DeRosa just says, hi to everyone, goes out on stage, hosts. And it is whatever it is. It's a little slow. It's not packed. And I'm listening, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna do a little work. And he walks off, he brings off Jessica, she leaves, he comes in, and he sits down, he has a drink. He goes, you ever seen Jessica work? And I go, no. She hasn't told her first joke yet. And he goes, oh, you got a long weekend. And I went, what? And all of a sudden I hear thunder. And he goes, this is gonna be a tough one, Bert. And I went, who the fuck is she? And he was like, she brings it every time. He did mediocre. Yeah. I did horrible, but she fucking destroyed. But just the joy he had to tell me, like, sit down. You ever see her work? I go, no. He goes, it's going to be a long weekend.
And immediately you're thinking, oh, it's going to be bad, huh?
Yeah. And I hear thunder coming from the room. And I'm like, motherfucker.
Oh, God. Yeah. There's somebody that I had, God, like, he's Vegas, his name. I don't know why I can't think of it right now. But he's open for Kanane too.
Yeah.
And Kanane texts me like before the show. He's like, hey, good luck, man. I haven't felt insecure doing stand-up in a long time, but you're going to after you watch his set. It's like, fuck. And I went out, and he just crushed Sam something out of Vegas. Anyway, Sam Talent is his name.
Oh, I know Sam Talent. Have you read Sam Talent's book?
No, I haven't yet. I want to check it out.
Dude, you got to read it while you're up there. It is the best book written about stand-up comedy. Like,
I got to hear it. Yeah, Sam is so. I mean, dude, the guy is. It's insane.
He is amazing.
His pure size too. Like, he's my size, but also your size.
Yeah, like my size, but also your size. Dude, his book is so fucking good. Holston, what's the name of his book? It's just type in Sam Talent's book. It is, dude, it's one of the best. I'm not one of the best. It is the best book about doing stand-up comedy on the road that I've ever read. In
Running the Light.
It is.
Yeah, I saw that he had a book. I got to watch that.
Oh, it is. I think
I got to watch that book.
I think he did Marin. I got to watch that book. It is. You should listen to it. I ended up reading a chapter for it.
Oh, you did?
Audiobook. I read a chapter. I think Kanane read a chapter. I think Stanhope read a chapter. All guys at Party read a chapter. But you will really appreciate it because the lead in there has all the bad tendencies. It is fucking awesome.
Yeah, that guy, he's good. And he moved to Vegas because his wife was going into school. Like, he's just, he actually does life really well alongside doing stand-up. He's not pressuring himself to be out in LA and,
He shot me a text the other day. I don't know, maybe I'm spoiler alerting everything. But he was like, hey man, thanks for talking up my book so much. Because I Stanhope sent me the book and was like, this is the best book ever written about comedy. And I read it immediately. And I was in quarantine when I was reading it for a game show that I was doing. I was in quarantine. I read it and I'm like, motherfucker. And then I can't stop talking about it to everyone. And then I have him on the podcast. And then I'm talking about it, talked about my managers about it, my agents. I sent copies to everyone that I knew. And then he texted me. He's
except
like,
me.
Except you. And he's like, dude, he goes, I'm doing Marin today. And I was like, for real? And he was like, dude, this is like a big deal for me. Like, thanks for all the support or whatever. I was like, and it goes back to exactly what you said. When someone's good, all you're going to do here is people talk about how great they are. I know for a fact, I did that 100% with you. When I first saw you do stand up, I was like, this guy's fucking amazing. I don't think I said that to everyone I ran into. I was like, have you seen Nick Thune? I was like, he's fucking talented. And that's the truth. Tommy Johnigan, one of the most fucking talented.
Oh God. Yeah.
Fucking Nate Bargatze. There are so many people where you go, oh, this guy's more people need to know about that, as opposed to no one's talking about the guy that brings the thunder, fucks the stool. By the way, I think I'm talking about me. Brings the thunder, fucks the stool, and makes it hard to follow because he's shirtless and drunk. Well, I am talking about me now, but
yeah, it's true though. I mean, those are the guys that people want on the road, like Shane Torres, like all these guys that good people, light, smart, thoughtful and funny.
Yeah. I worked with Billy Gardell. We did the Jameson comedy tour, and the first show we did was in Cincinnati, and I come into the green room. This is back when Billy was drinking, and he has like a Budweiser, maybe a Jameson and a cigarette. And he's sitting in the green room, and I have not met him. But I know he's a murderer and that he closes all the shows. So I go back and I go, "Hey Billy, I'm Bert." And he was like, "Yeah, I know who you are." And he goes, "You're going last." I went, "Hey Billy, I don't think I can follow you." And he goes, takes a pull of his cigarette, kills his drink. He goes, "I'm not going to spend the week following your Yosemite Sam shit. You got that?" I go, "What?" And he goes, "You did take the shirt off, guns ablazing, whatever the fuck you want to do. I'm not going to have a long week because you like to get wild on stage." And I go, "Okay." So then the first night we do it, he goes, "Don't worry, I'm going to pump the brakes at the end." And I go, "All right." So Billy goes up and just fucking destroys. I mean, destroys. And I'm in the back corner. This is the old Cincinnati Funny Bone. I'm in the back left corner.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going, and I'm going, "When's he going to pump the brakes?" Like, it sounds like he's getting a standing ovation. Like, do they know another comic's going up? And he does not pump the brakes. It slides wildly out of control. And he gets off stage. He comes up and he goes, "I'm sorry, hotshot. I had a hard time. I got a little away from me." He's like, "You're going to be fine." So I'm like, "All right, real Yosemite Sam." So I go up on stage, fucking music kicks on, shirt comes off, I'm sure I'm dancing. A black chick with big hair is in the front. She starts dancing. A waitress there. She starts dancing. I do a great interaction with her. I'm popping off jokes. We're going a little interaction with this waitress. I said, "You are talented." She goes, "You haven't even heard me sing." Crowds like this. "Whoa, shit, she can sing?" I go, "Come on up here and sing." She sings "God Bless America" in the mic. The fucking crowd is losing it. Billy comes on stage. Steve Byrne comes on stage. Michael Loftus comes on stage. They all bring a shot. I'm dancing. My pants are now around my ankles. A boot's over my dick. I do a shot. Oh my God. And Billy Gardell fucking grabs the mic. "We are the Jameson Comedy Tour." Fucking rooms vibrating, puts it in the mic stand, gives me a hug, and he goes, "You got 15 more minutes, fuck boy." And he walks.
Oh, fuck.
I bombed so hard, Nick. I couldn't follow it.
God.
I was like, "Anyone ever put a toothbrush on their balls?"
Oh, Jesus. Dude. Billy came to see me perform in Grand Rapids. There was a festival going on there. I think the Gilda Radner Festival. And me and Brody were co-headlining a show at this place called the Pyramid Scheme. And Brody, the first night, comes out and he goes before me and he's doing drums. He's doing the whole thing. And I go, "Listen, man, you're closing the shows. Like you bring the audience down to like, they think you're bombing, to then where they're like on your side, to then where you're not even trying and you're playing like, I can't, there's too much emotions there. I just want the crowd." But Billy I remember Billy came out and he was like, "That was a good call."
That was a good call.
Yeah.
So
Brody, man, that guy, I've seen that guy in Dublin one time just eat shit for a half hour. I was sitting with Tim Heidecker and Eric Wareheim. We were sitting in the back watching it, and we've never laughed harder in our lives. I mean, he's doing Reseda jokes in fucking Dublin. It was so ridiculous. And just
like, what country code is that?
Oh my God, man. Just hard walking around the crowd using his voice, how he would do.
He was so great. He was so fun to watch. Ari and I one time, we were at UCB. I don't know why, but we were at UCB. I think we were probably doing some podcast there. We weren't doing spots. And Ari grabbed me and Brody was going on. And he was like, "Let's go watch Brody." And we stood in that like underneath the stands over to the left, kind of. And we kind of just and he owned that crowd from the second he got on stage, and then forced them not to like him.
Yeah. Classic Brody move.
Explained to them that they were dialed in to like him, and he didn't want that. He wanted them to respect him. Yeah. It was such a, and Ari and I are looking at each other going like, he was so dialed into his game at that point where you were like, and fucking high leg kicks and
oh, Jesus.
I actually thought about him because he lived right next to me. I saw him all the time. And I thought about him turning the street, and I was like, God, man, I wonder what he would have been like on pandemic. I bet this would have been tough for him.
Oh my God. He could have also really thrived, you know?
He might have.
He was so good at like monitoring him just going down the street. I mean, I flew him up to Portland to open up for my last special, and it was like, it meant a lot. I mean, I was like, you know what? I want Brody, his fingerprints on this, like I just love, and my opener also was obsessed with him. And yeah. So sad.
My daughters knew him and have not seen his stand up yet. I should show them his stand up because he was always at Starbucks right by our house. And so we would, anytime you ever saw Brody, it was always, Bert Kreischer, plays baseball, recruited by Duke, chose Florida State to walk on one day. Bert Kreischer. And if you saw my daughters, Isla Kreischer, large part of Bert's act, wouldn't have an act without his daughters. Beautiful family. And so we were walking down the street, across the street one day, and they see Brody, and in rote, Georgia just goes, Brody Stevens. And I go, Georgia, how do you know? She goes, Dad, we see him all the time.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. I mean, he was just walking around with a fucking...
I remember one time I'm walking out with Jimmy Tingle. From Boston. And I'm walking out, and Brody's just walking down the street. And he goes, Bert Kreischer sitting with Jimmy Tingle, Boston legend, and starts giving him his credit.
Were you at the memorial?
Yeah. Well, oh God, that was fucking hilarious. I mean, yes, it was sad, but it was
Jeff Ross.
God.
Remember that? What he said?
I forgot what he said.
So Zach goes up in the beginning and does a very emotional and funny and sweet kind of, thing. Yeah. And then one of Brody's old coaches comes up. That guy's son comes up. Another guy he played college ball with comes up. So, right in a row, you got three like family members / best friends. And then Jeff Ross comes out, and he goes, after watching Brody's friends talk, I know why he killed himself. And these are people that aren't in comedy. So everyone in that, it's a fucking Laugh Factory main stage. I mean, everyone in there is howling, and these people that had just spoke are sitting there like, huh? What the fuck?
I remember one of Brody's friends. I was backstage, I think maybe talking to Zach right before Zach went on, or maybe I was backstage at one point, I'm sure to get a drink or whatever, was back there. And one of Brody's friends was like, it's really bizarre, but he was like, I can't believe I'm going up at the store. You guys got any advice for me? And I was like, talk about Brody. I was like,
yeah. Do you have any, use all your Brody material?
Yeah, I do mostly Brody material. And
yeah, that was a night. That was fun.
The best one that night, my favorite one that night was, here are my two memories from that night. One is I walked in and I bumped into Zach, and Zach turned around and he goes, Bert. And I went, what's up? He goes, Zach Galifianakis. And I started laughing. I just was like, hey, yeah, we all know Zach. But it is genuinely who he is this like fucking down to earth person who goes, I just think I lost weight. Maybe he didn't recognize the beard's gone. And Mike Gibbons murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Gibbons told the story about selling the show, and he was like, we're in a pitch meeting, and Zach would just go, Brody, top 5 streets in Los Angeles. He's like, we'll start with Sepulveda. Like,
dude, Mike Gibbons killed. And I remember the first time I saw you perform was at the Improv, and you followed Zach.
Oh, I did?
And I met you back like off stage, back by the sound booth or whatever. And you were like, good God, I have to fucking follow. Like, And then
people forget what a savage he was on stage.
Oh my God. And then Zach came back and I sat with Zach while you were on. And I didn't know you guys. I was just like this guy that probably maybe my first time at the fucking improv. But it was just so crazy and fun and funny. And yeah, it was.
I remember my wife came to the improv one night, and on the show was Zach and Daniel Tosh. And she did, and I go, first of all, these are two of the funniest dudes in the world, in my opinion. She was like, okay. And so she goes and watches Daniel Tosh, and Daniel Tosh is just making fun of me on stage. He's doing my act. He's like, he goes up and he's like, so my name's Bert. I know you're thinking hot, sexy name. Bert. Like, no, just now I can't do it. I have no material. And she's like, he's doing your jokes. I go, yeah, but he's not stealing them, baby. He's doing them so that I have no material now. And she was like, and he was just taking punchlines out of, because we had worked together like a month earlier. And then Zach goes on stage and she's like, I don't get it. And then Zach had two jokes that murdered her. The first one is, I'm gonna fuck it up. But
it's a bit that just you ever is such a classic Zach opening to a joke, by the way, just like out of nowhere. You ever
not do laundry for a while? Like, I haven't done laundry for so long. I got out of the shower, I dried off with a shoe, and and Leanne starts laughing, and he goes, Stop laughing! We've got to do something about this. George Bush, this administration we need to do something now. And he goes, I would do something, but I just bought a hammock. And I'm going to tell you, like, and all of a sudden Leanne's crying, laughing. And she goes, I want to meet him. And I was like, oh, it's not the same. I was like, he's a regular person. Like, it's not, you're not going to be like, and she was like, what? And I was like, no, because I think she lived with me and she knew that who I am on stage is who I am off stage. And then I walked out and I was like, hey, Leanne, this is Zach. And he was like, hey, very nice to meet you. And she's like, oh. I was like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
He is, yeah, he's just a sweet guy.
He's a very sweet, very, very sweet guy. You know, I want to say my uncle and his uncle were like good friends. We had two connections. I want to say one of his uncles was a House of Representatives guy.
Yeah, he was a politician. Yeah.
I actually knew that guy. So I went to a Final Four basketball game with his uncle. I think. I'm not, but we also knew this girl. We also had this girl in common that we both knew. And I met him right when I started stand up. I met him, and God, he's still fucking hilarious. I mean, he was brilliant in just being sincere at Brody's funeral, but he, like, just the little things. Like, do you remember the story he told about Brody? He had a bachelor party and Brody showed up, and Brody wasn't talking to him. He wasn't talking to him at all. And he hadn't said a word the whole fucking weekend. He didn't say a word. And then everyone left. It was just him and Brody still wasn't talking to him. And he's sweeping up in the kitchen in North Carolina. They're in North Carolina, and Brody's on his phone, and Brody just goes, Zach. And he's like, oh, finally, we're going to say something. He goes, yeah, Brody. He goes, boy, George just followed me on Twitter.
Oh my God, man. That never knew what was coming with Brody. Always
they should do another documentary on him. I know he did his own that was kind of like, I could watch another one. They're doing one on Patrice. I think that'll be interesting.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, they could really take all of Brody's social media and turn that into a documentary with the footage that is, captured.
I got a call from him one night. Because he would go on whatchamacallit, and he'd be right by my house. So a lot of times, like on Periscope, a lot of times he'd go to the Menchie's by my house. He's like, Bert Kreischer, possibly watching, might come over and get a Menchie's. And I got a fucking frantic call from him one night, and he was like, I have a list of people I need you to unfollow right now. And I was like, what? And he goes, you need to block them. They're fucking with me, Bert. I was like, oh, Brody. I was like, what happened? And I guess people were just fucking him. And I think it was right around when he was melting down. Well, he had a few stages, and I was like, And then he came to my house the next day, and it was like, came over and we were having a barbecue. And I remember my daughters being like, is he okay? I was like, yeah, he's just an intense guy. And then he was Baker acted like right after that.
Yeah. I was with him in the weeks leading up to that one meltdown that's in the documentary. We were in Dublin and then Montreal together. He got sick. But he also shaved in Montreal. And in Dublin, he shaved. And you know how he was so obsessed with his face and angles and stuff. And he like fucked his beard up. And it was all he talked about all weekend was his beard. And every mirror, just looking at it, doing his, beautiful.
He was obsessed that when he was in my house, he was obsessively explaining to my daughters that he had uneven hips or something. And his gait was weird, that he wasn't gay, as he had a weird gait and his way he walked or something. And I remember I was like, Brody, she's like fucking 8. Like she doesn't know, like she really has no idea. Yeah. It's so funny. I just thought he was funny. I never really thought it was mental illness. I didn't, I just thought, he just marches to the beat.
Well, he was so aware. When people are aware of their mental illness, it softens it, because he's talking about it on stage. He's talking about his meds. He's very open about his feelings, and which is a sophistication that if mental illness is like really getting you, that you don't really have, it seems. It seems like the times when I've been my most mentally ill, I have no clue.
I always have a hint that I'm going off the deep end. I actually feel it coming on.
Oh, good. Well, hey, if you can spot it beforehand, you can really ride it out.
I can't stop it, but I can spot it.
Yeah. I hate that feeling of knowing it. It's like, oh, I'm not going to like this.
We're not going to like this, Bert. We need to shut this down. Nick, this has been a great podcast, but we've done 2 hours. I can't force you to sit anymore.
Yeah.
Tell everyone about the movie and where they can find it.
The Right One is on demand. It's on Apple, Amazon. It's going to be streaming. I think it's like worldwide. It might be in 1 or 2 theaters where there's theaters.
I can't wait for it. I'm telling you. And by the way, I got to give a shout out to Eliza. Eliza's great in it as well. Eliza,
she's so good.
She's so good. I mean, both of you guys really fucking killed it, man. It makes me so happy to see you guys literally taking over the box office for comics. I mean, it's just fucking awesome.
Yeah, she was so good in it. She's so funny. I've never seen her act before.
This is legit. Oh, she is, dude. In the trailer, like she fucking. I mean, you and her. I got so excited because you and her own that trail. Like your character, it just looks. It's just like I don't know, man. It's like every time you want it. If you look for a rom-com for a comic to play, you're like, that's the one for Nick. That's perfect. And Eliza's fucking scenes that they put in are hilarious. I gotta get her on the podcast to promote the movie, but it looks great. I'm gonna watch it with the girls and Leanne.
Oh, the girls will like it.
Yeah, I guarantee you.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Bert.
Of course. And then enjoy the movie you're doing now. And I might give you a call privately to talk about some off the record stuff. But
yeah, I'll be around. Now I got a car, so I can do anything I want now.
Hey, life. Hey, I can't wait to see your Instagram and see what you're doing, buddy. Hey,
you know that I'm going to be me driving around.
Oh, I love you, man. Have fun.
Love you too. Thanks for having me.
Of course, brother. Good luck on the movie. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you soon.